You want to know what like the biggest impact of growing up in the environment I grew up in? Because you would think like there's like a trauma associated with being exposed to anger and abuse, but honestly, that's not it. The biggest impact was my confidence, because I learned early on that confidence is a key ingredient to someone having healthy mental strength and mental health, and like it's a big component to someone's mental health journey. And I learned that because I lived with so much fear and so much doubt and so much anxiety. I really didn't believe that I could accomplish anything. Like, I didn't believe that I could achieve. You know, when you are in an environment like that, like the words you hear, like I can't even tell you some of the things that I was told, like you're a piece of shit and you're never gonna amount to anything and you're never gonna be better than me. My father, who had 3 kids, me and my 2 brothers, he would often say to the one he was mad at, me, he would say, I only have 2 sons. I mean, it was brutal. So how do you go off in the world and have the confidence to like ask the girl you have a crush on for her phone number? Or how do you have the confidence to know that I can apply myself in this class and get a good grade? How do you even have the confidence to know that like I can go compete in this sport with my peers? It was a really, really difficult journey. But I'm going to tell you how I reclaimed my confidence, how I rebuilt my strength. It was hard, but I'll tell you what it did and the impact it had on me. So welcome back to the aha moments, where every day I share the lessons I've learned in my work as a psychotherapist and in my life to inspire you to live your very best life. Of course, I'm your host, Elliott Connie. I think the biggest thing that happened to me, for me, I should say, was I got into graduate school. And to be honest with you, up until that point, I just felt like life was happening around me. Graduate school wasn't some sort of goal I had. And literally, like I got my degree, bachelor's degree in psychology, and that was a big accomplishment. But I don't think that really impacted my self-esteem necessarily. I think where it started, and I'm just thinking about it now, I think where it started is I was working at an agency, and I seemed to be good at interacting with clients. I wasn't a psychotherapist at the time, but I just seemed to be good at interacting with clients and better than some of my colleagues who struggled to interact with theirs. And that made me like wish that I could go further. And I knew I hadn't done well enough academically that I can just pick my graduate school and go. And then one day I heard a rumor that the school I graduated from was starting a counseling program. And I thought, well, I know those professors, I'm familiar with the environment, maybe I could go. And it worked. But I remember taking one of the hardest classes, real difficult classes. And everyone failed the first test, like the whole class, including me. We all bombed the first test. But I got a 68, which technically isn't a failing grade, I guess. But I got a 68, and I was crushed, absolutely crushed. In graduate school, you have to get an A or B. And I started hearing other people's grades. One girl said she got a 17. Another guy said he got in the 40s. And all of a sudden, I'm like, all right, this was a tough class, a tough exam. We all bombed it. But my 68 was like the 4th highest grade in the class. And I went to that professor and I said to her, what do I need to know to do better on the test? And we came out of that conversation, basically, you have to tell me everything you know about every subject matter. And that seemed ridiculous, but I was like, okay, if that's what I have to do, that's what I have to do. And I remember thinking, this is the moment. There are no shortcuts. There's no way around this. I have to go through this problem. I have to figure out how to pass this test. If I don't figure out how to pass this test, then I don't deserve the master's degree that I'm here in pursuit of. This is the moment. And when I passed that class, there were 40, tell you how hard that class is. There were 44 people on day 1 of that class. 9 of us were at the last day. Everyone else dropped. And I came away believing in myself infinitely more and started realizing that doubt is the enemy of my confidence, and I needed my confidence moving forward. If you want to regrow your confidence, because I'm sure to everybody out there, you might be struggling with your confidence just because you had an environment like mine that you grew up in. It's going to take you putting yourself in environments where you're being challenged and the outcome is uncertain. You might actually fail, but you can't build your confidence until you go test yourself. That's what I learned. So go find a test, give it everything you have, and watch what happens when you exceed it more than even you thought. The consequences of low confidence is kind of low self-efficacy, meaning I mean, that's probably an odd way to say that. I'll stop using kind of psychotherapy speech, but like you'll have an increase in fear of anxiety, which causes you to try fewer things, causes you to do fewer things, causes you to put yourself in fewer uncomfortable environments, causes you to test yourself less, and unfortunately holds you back from being the person you could and or should become as you are growing and as you are evolving. Low confidence is really the root of so many issues that pop up in someone's life. We have to rebuild our confidence, and we live in a world where people take our confidences away in many different ways. I talked yesterday about how my confidence was robbed of me and how I had to rebuild it. But let's go deeper into, if you have lower confidence, how you can destroy the limiting beliefs and the fear of anxiety that come along with that so that you can become your absolute very best self. Limiting beliefs are an interesting thing because they cause you to find excuses and reasons why you won't succeed. So for example, if I said to you, like if a young man said, I want to play in the NBA, but I'm too short, I'm too slow, I'm not from the right environment, so on and so on. People who succeed tend to not have those. They refer to those as false beliefs, and they work to make sure their brains are not buying in to false beliefs. Because the truth is, anyone, and literally, if you never get anything from a word that I say, I want you to get this. Anyone can get to anywhere from anywhere, right? That is so powerful to realize. Anyone can get to any place from any origin story. There is no such thing as I can't do this because of this thing about me. That's literally called a limiting belief, and we have to be able to destroy them. And just like I talked about yesterday, the best way to destroy them is to put yourself in environments that challenge the limiting belief. I'll be really specific. When my father told me I was never going to amount to anything and you're a piece of shit and you're never going to be better than me, like it was a childhood full of those. Like I could go on and on about all the things that he said. And when you hear those things about yourself at a young age, you believe them. Why wouldn't I? It's coming from a very credible source in my life, my own father. Why wouldn't I believe the things that he was saying about me? Like, what would make me question them? Until one day, I was in college, and a professor told me, you're very, very bright, and you have a very bright future, and you should think about what you want to be in your future, and I think you could contribute to the world in a meaningful way. Like this professor really believed in me. It didn't seem like a joke. It didn't seem false. It didn't seem like they were making it up. It didn't seem like they were trying to make me feel better about myself. It seemed like they were genuinely in my corner. And that challenged my limiting belief because I thought to myself, my father told me this, and I was aware that it seeped in my head and I believed it. But here's this very credible person also, this university professor. She's been in this job for a really long time. Like she knows what she's talking about. Why does she believe in me? And that little bit caused me to doubt the message I was getting from my father for all those years. And even at that exact moment, to be honest with you, and caused me to start wondering what I could be and what I could do and who I could become. And I started really working at that. I started literally leaning in and thinking to myself, what could I be if she's right? And I worked really hard. That was the first semester I ever got a 4.0. And I thought, if my dad was wrong about that, then maybe he was wrong about everything else. And that changed the game. So if you have a limiting belief, if you have a false belief about yourself, test it. Find incongruent data to it, and that'll eradicate that belief. So I've been talking about how to rebuild your confidence, and hopefully throughout this week you've gotten some good ideas, find incongruent data that doesn't support the negative belief you have of yourself. Put yourself in environments where you can challenge yourself and watch how you come out. Watch how you get through. Watch how you thrive in spite of the challenges. Those are all very effective ways to rebuild your confidence. But there is a hidden way, I guess, kind of a less talked about, less understood way. A lot of people try to get compliments from other people, but that doesn't really help you. That just makes you dependent upon other people's feedback in order for you to feel good about you. But there is actually something, I don't want to call it a secret necessarily, but there's like a hack, something we don't often talk about, that this one thing like has a massive impact on your confidence and your ability to rebuild your confidence. And when we understand it, when we focus on it, when we like grow it and know it, and when we really believe it. Now, all of those things are great. And I really believe that like, since insults can do a tremendous amount of damage to someone's confidence, depending upon the source of the insult and where in the developmental stages you might be when you receive the insult, and how consistent the insult, those sorts of things. I think we think that compliments are how you grow out of that. And that's actually not true. If I was torn down by somebody's insults and I need to be rebuilt by someone's compliments, then I just become dependent upon other people's feedback. And then my confidence wavers, whether people are saying really kind things about me or really complimentary things about me, or people saying really critical, negative, and insulting things about me. My confidence will ebb and flow depending on the type of feedback that I'm receiving. However, if I can learn to compliment myself, then that's a game changer, because now you have like a true sense of self. And the only person you're working to satisfy, the only person you're working to please, the only person whose feedback truly matters is your own. Like, that's the game, If your feedback is the one that impacts you most, then that's the whole game. That is absolutely everything. But few people, nobody, I don't even know how to say that. Less people, few people, nobody, whatever it is. A limited amount of people understand that. And they start trying to rebuild their confidence by surrounding themselves around people who will compliment them. And then you don't have anybody challenging you, right? But you've got to be able to look in the mirror and say, I love you. I forgive you for your flaws, mistakes, issues you might have. Like, I'm all in on you. I'm doing everything I can today, and I like you. If you can look in the mirror and become your own cheerleader, become your own measurement of success, and you start measuring success not by how people are responding to you, how much money you got in the bank account, how big your house is, how awesome your car is, or whatever. If you start measuring success by metrics that matter to you and only you, that's real, true confidence, self-awareness, and self-assuredness. Just most people never get there because they don't look inward long enough to be able to determine what really are the things that matter to them. I think the greatest thing that happened to me to help me rebuild my confidence was I learned to believe in me. And other people's feedback really doesn't mean a whole lot to me. I realized that if someone's feedback can tear me down and somebody else's feedback can build me up, I'm always dependent upon what I'm hearing to feel good about myself. And I learned you can't trust the world with that. Like, your mental health is so linked to your confidence that you can't link your confidence to things like other people's feedback. And I don't know if you've been on social media recently, but people are not running around complimenting everybody. Like, that's not the world we live in. So you've got to be able to look in the mirror and look at you and love and like you. If you can do that, your mental health will benefit and your confidence will grow. Today I want to tell you why confidence is so important in the ability to accomplish something, and specifically to accomplish something challenging. The reason why confidence is so incredibly important is because here's what most people do. If you want to do something, like a really good example is have a baby, we try to wait until the environment is perfect. Or if you want to move to a new city, apply for a new job, change careers, whatever the thing is that you're trying to accomplish, we want to wait until the time is perfect. But here's the thing. The time will never be perfect. It'll never be the perfect time for you to have that baby, switch jobs, take that big leap. Whatever it is, timing's never perfect. So you have to have the confidence to do it with uncertainty present. And that scares the bejesus out of most people. And it scares so many people so much that they never start. I graduated from graduate school way back in 2006. And every single person that I went to graduate school with, they all wanted to have a therapy practice when they got out of school. That was like the number one thing everybody said. I want a therapy practice. Some people said I want to write a book. Other people said I want to become a speaker. I want to lecture at conferences and events. But everybody said they wanted to have a therapy practice. Less than half of them went on to start a therapy practice. And the half that didn't succeed and only stayed in private practice for a short amount of time. But less than half even tried. Why is that? Because they were waiting on the environment to be perfect. And when the environment was never perfect, I have to save this amount of money or I have to achieve this thing. A friend of mine, he was working at an agency, and his big dream was to have his own therapy practice. And he said to me, well, I want to wait until I have this many years at the agency because then my retirement account will be such and such, and then I'm going to start my therapy practice. That was 20 years ago. I ran into that person at the grocery store recently. They still have not started their therapy practice. So today I want to go deep into why you need to build your confidence so that you can even try. I think the biggest thing I want to say about this is confidence isn't just, I know I can do it. That's one component of confidence. That's one kind of level of confidence. But the other level of confidence is, I know that I can handle failure. We always think of confidence as I know I can beat that opponent, or I know I can do this thing, or I know I can do that thing. But another level of confidence is the simple knowledge that I know I can handle failure. I know I can handle, if it doesn't work, I know I can pick myself back up and try again. I know I can deal with failure. Because so many people fear failure to such a degree that they don't want to try, that it makes them uncomfortable, they never try. But I really think that my background is a bit of a gift. Because I now live my life with almost no fear. Like everybody, I have fear. I want to be very clear about that. I'm not fearless. But I will tell you, I appear fearless because so often I'm not willing to allow myself to be held back by fear. So if there's something I want to achieve, I'm not afraid of looking stupid. I'm not afraid of falling on my face. I'm not afraid of not being successful. I'm not afraid of it not working out. I'm not afraid of the challenges that lay ahead for me. And the reason I'm not afraid is because I've been in such dark places and I've had my resolve tested to such a degree that I know I can handle falling down. I know after falling down, I can get back up. And I know that because I've had to get back up so many times in my life. I know that because getting back up has become a skill that I needed time and time and time again. I think some people haven't had that. Some people have not had their skills tested to the point where they had to get back up. Some people, they don't believe in themselves to the point where they can handle failure. A lot of people, they don't have confidence, they have hope. I hope that I'll be able to achieve that great outcome. And boy, if it doesn't work out, I don't know what I'm going to do. But I've got both level of confidence. I know I can do it. And if I should happen to prove myself wrong, I know I can pick myself up and try again. And I know if I keep trying, eventually I'll succeed. That's real confidence, and that's where you have to get yourself. Confidence has become my secret weapon. And I want to be very, very clear here. I don't mean that confidence makes me think that I can do everything. And it certainly doesn't mean that I think I'm better than everyone else. It just means I know exactly who I am. I know exactly what I'm trying to achieve. And I believe in my capabilities to achieve it. Might not happen the first try, second try, third try. But I know that I can achieve it. I have 100% belief in myself. I have 100% belief in who I am. And I have 100% belief that if I stay the course, I will end up victorious. There have been times where I've needed that confidence. I literally had to take on my entire field multiple times. When the whole field is saying, Elliott is this and Elliott is that, and they're trying to start all these rumors and try to attack me and try whatever, I had to stand my ground because I knew that I was in the right. I knew that they were wrong. I knew that their attacks were coming from insecurities, racism. I knew they were bigoted and biased. And I knew that I had to be who I needed to be for me. That's what confidence really is. I mean, that really is the game. Confidence is not about feeling like you're better than other people, which I think is the biggest misconception about confidence is people want to be confident so they can put other people down and look down on other people. And that's not it. Confidence has nothing to do with how much money you have in the bank. Has nothing to do with how nice your car is. It's not about any of that. It's about like, how comfortable are you in your own skin? How much do you believe in what you're doing? How much do you believe in yourself that you can handle hard things? My life changed, and I talked about it a lot this week, but my life changed significantly when I realized that failure is a part of success. It is not the opposite of success. You cannot succeed without failure. Of course, the most famous story of failure ever was Michael Jordan being cut from his varsity team when he was a sophomore in high school. This is the guy who went on to become the greatest basketball player of all time. I don't even think it's an argument. Some people hear that and they think, what about LeBron James? Whatever. I think Michael Jordan is unquestionably the greatest basketball player of all time. And we live in this world and we forget, man, that like, would he have become the greatest basketball player of all time if it wasn't for that failure? And look, I live in a space right now where I'm surrounded by ultra successful people in the business world, ultra successful people in the entertainment world, ultra successful people in the athletic world. I mean, like uber successful people. I literally don't know a single successful person, not one. There are no exceptions to this, that didn't have failure along the way, that didn't have to overcome something nearly insurmountably difficult in order to achieve their success. And I think a lot of us, we fall into this pattern where we think that success and failure are somehow opposite ends of the spectrum. But they're not. Failure is a part of success. You cannot have success without failure. It's just most people quit. And they quit because they don't have the confidence to believe themselves that they can endure the long, hard road. But what would happen if you did? What would happen if you had the confidence and you knew that I can endure the long, hard road? Like, what would happen if you had the level of self-belief and self-assuredness that lets you know I can stay the course for this really, really hard thing? I think a part of confidence is not quitting, right? I think just literally making the decision that I'm going to head down this pathway, whatever that is, I'm going to head down this road, and regardless of how hard it gets, I'm not going to quit. When confident people make decisions like that, they succeed. That's real confidence. Thanks for being here. If you wouldn't mind doing me a super huge favor, I would love it if you would share this podcast with at least one person in your life that you think could benefit from hearing this message today. And also, don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts or anywhere else you listen to your podcast. And also follow me on all of the social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky. You can search for my name, Elliott Connie, or at Elliott Speaks. That's my handle across all platforms. Can't wait to see you tomorrow.